This is a tale of jealousy. An emotion, if not controlled with time, can ruin many lives, even the person's own life. This story starts with a kingdom far away in the south, ruled by the beloved king and queen. The kingdom was filled with jitters on the birth of the princess. She was as white as a snow, with cheeks red as a rose, hence named as Snow White. There was happiness and prosperity everywhere when the tragedy occurred. Due to being sick, the queen died. King raised his daughter all alone. As she grew older, the king felt that Snow White needs the love of a mother, so he went on a journey to find himself a new queen, and Snow White a mother. During this conquest, he fell in love with a lady Clementiana and got married to her. She was all loving and caring to the king, Snow White, and the kingdom. One day, the king got the news of a beast in the woods, on which he went to kill it, but never returned. The story shifts to 10 years later, where the Queen Clementiana had taken the control of the kingdom. She was all about partying and didn't take any responsibility of the kingdom. Hence, the kingdom was about to run short of all the resources. The elder committee of the kingdom recommended Clementiana to marry a king so that the kingdom can be saved from poverty. But Clementiana, rather than being thankful to them, got angry and asked the guards to punish that person who started this rumor. She has even locked Snow White in her room, high in the tower. She wasn't allowed to leave the tower. But on her 18th birthday, Snow White had it enough. She tried to escape the castle, but was caught by Clementiana and was sent into kitchen, where all the maids had made a small cake for her birthday. The head maid, Margaret, gave Snow White her father's dagger, telling her to escape from the back side where the good guards already knew about her plan and helped her escape the castle. On the other hand, Prince Andrew Alcott of Valencia with his associate Charles and guards were crossing the woods when they were attacked by 7 weird-looking people in armors that stripped them off their clothes, weapons, and the gold. Those people were dwarves, and when Andrew saw them, he started laughing and mocking them, causing dwarfs to get angry on him, and as a punishment, Charles and Andrew were tied by the rope upside down. Scenes shift back to Clementiana, who from her magical mirror enter a new realm where her reflection, the queen, was present in the mirror. She warns Clementiana that she is becoming old and is getting short of money, so she should soon find herself a new husband, as her magic and fortune won't last long. Snow White happened to pass from the same route when she saw them in this state and cut the rope to make them free. Andrew and Snow White were immediately attracted to one another, but both were in a hurry to continue their journey, so they went different ways. Snow White reached the town, where she saw poverty everywhere. The people of the town were in bad condition, and the worst of all, they were asked to pay taxes every month, which had become impossible for them now. Snow White became disheartened on seeing the condition of her people. She came back and told Margaret all about what she saw in the town, on which Margaret also became sad. Prince Andrew and Charles had also reached the kingdom, where seeing Andrew shirtless, Clementiana became infatuated with him. She started to flirt with him, which made Charles cringe a lot. Andrew tells Charles to bring clothes, gold, and guards from their castle, but Charles didn't want to leave Andrew alone with Clementiana, as he found her very strange, but Andrew assures him to not worry about him. Clementiana tells her advisor Brighton to arrange a party where she will propose Andrew for marriage, but Brighton tells her that they don't have enough money for the party, on which Clementiana orders him to collect more taxes from the people, and the notice of increased taxes made the town people hate the queen more. Clementiana gets her beauty treatment in a weird way. She uses all the insects to make her skin soft and to look attractive, and wore an extravagant gown. But still, Snow White surpassed Clementiana with her elegance and simplicity. She came to the party hiding herself from the queen. Andrew again met Snow White there and flirted with her. Clementiana was trying hard to dance with Andrew, who didn't leave a single moment to be with Snow White. And at last, Clementiana saw Snow White and asked Brighton to take her in the woods and feed her to the beast and bring her organs as a proof. There, Snow White saw a moon necklace in Clementiana's neck that was shining brightly. Brighton took Snow White to the woods, where, hearing the voice of a beast, he opened her hands and told her to escape from there and never return back to the castle, and goes from there. Snow White also runs to save herself from the beast, but gets hit by a tree in front of a house and falls unconscious. Brighton returns back to the castle and tells Clementiana that Beast has killed Snow White, and also shows her organs of animals as proof, and he also tells about Snow White's death to the maids at the castle, making them disheartened. Next morning, she finds herself in the house of the 7 dwarfs that were enchanted by her beauty. Dwarfs make a plan to ask a hefty ransom from the queue, and in return of the girl, Snow White, hearing their plan, tells them the truth that Queen wants her dead, and requests them to let her stay with them for a couple of days, on which dwarfs agree. Brighton had gone to the town to collect the taxes when he was again robbed by the dwarfs. Snow White had made lunch for them, but when she saw the armor, she immediately recognized it and questions dwarfs about it. Dwarfs reply that they are thieves, which makes Snow White angry. She tells them that town people are already poor, so they should not steal the money, on which dwarfs reply that when Clementiana became the queen, she had asked all the ugly people to evacuate from the town, for which dwarfs were thrown out of the town, and no one came to help them, so they don't have any sympathy with the town people. When Snow White saw dwarfs busy in eating lunch, she took the money and ran from there. Where dwarfs saw her escaping, they also followed her. Snow White gave all the money back to the town, saying dwarfs were the ones that saved their money, on which whole town started thanking dwarfs, making them happy, as dwarfs had always wanted nothing but acceptance. On the other hand, Clementiana was busy flirting with Andrew, who was only thinking about Snow White, and asks about her to Clementiana, on which she replies that she is dead. Just then, Brighton comes there and tells her that he had been robbed by some thugs on the way, which made Andrew angry, and he tells Clementiana that he will go to the woods and avenge himself and Brighton. Dwarfs now say their thank you to Snow White and tells her that they will now steal money from the queen and give it back to the town, on which Snow White agrees, and they also train her to become a thief. Andrew with soldiers arrive in the woods, where he sees a helpless girl and goes to help her, who is none other than Snow White. They both get shocked seeing each other. Dwarfs attack the soldiers, rendering them armless. Snow White and Andrew seeing all this, both of them get misconceptions about each other. Andrew thinks that Snow White is a thief, most probably dwarfs' leader, and Snow White thinks that Andrew work with Queen. They both fight with each other, and Snow White, using a whistle, makes Andrew hoarse to kick him, and then she punches him into unconsciousness. Andrew comes back to the castle, where he tells Clementiana that those thieves are dwarfs, and also asks her that why did she lie about Snow White's death, as she is very much alive. Hearing this, Clementiana got angry, and immediately went to the mirror house, where she asks the Mirror Queen to do something. The Mirror Queen again replies that she cannot use her magic again and again, as it will cost her a lot. But Clementiana doesn't listen, and asks her to punish the traitor, which causes Brighton to turn into a cockroach, and then she asks the Mirror Queen for the love potion, so that she can make Andrew fall for her. Here the past is revealed that Clementiana also used the love potion on Snow White's father to make him fall head over heels for her. Clementiana gives the love potion to Andrew, who now started to behave as a puppy, which doesn't make much sense to her, and she reads the label of the potion that was a puppy love potion, and Andrew asks Clementiana for marriage, and soon the news of Queen's marriage with Andrew is spread everywhere, even in the town, where people fear that now they will have to pay more taxes for her wedding. When one dwarf hears about this, he tells Snow White and other dwarfs about the news, and Snow White begins to cry as she had already fallen in love with Andrew. At night, Clementiana uses her black magic and attacks dwarfs with the two giant marionettes. Dwarfs tried their best to protect themselves by burning the marionettes, but nothing was working on them. Just then, Snow White saw strings attached with the marionettes like they were controlled by someone. She immediately cuts the strings, making the marionettes fall down on the floor. Next morning, Snow White leaves a note saying she loves them, but cannot risk their lives for her, and says her final goodbye to the dwarfs and leave them. Dwarfs, when read the note, goes to find Snow White, who wasn't far away from their house. They tell her that she has done so much for them, and they will help her in everything. They then make a plan to stop the wedding. On the wedding day, where Brighton was again turned back into human and guests from different kingdoms had arrived, dwarfs go to the wedding in different attires and kidnap Andrew and even steal the guests' clothes, making them angry on Clementiana. Clementiana orders Brighton to search for Andrew and punish those who did this. On the other hand, seeing Andrew, dwarfs understand that he is in effect of love potion and do many things to awake him, but nothing works. At last they ask Snow White to kiss him, and true love's kiss caused the spell to break, and Andrew gets happy seeing Snow White again. At night, they all hear the voice of Beast, and Snow White locks all of them inside the house and goes to fight the Beast alone, as it is her battle only. There she meets Clementiana, who is controlling Beast, and Snow White then gets to know that Clementiana murdered her father. Clementiana orders Beast to kill her and goes from there. Andrew asks dwarfs to bring him a spa, key, and after opening the door, all of them go to help Snow White. Snow White, Andrew, and all the dwarfs attack Beast, but nothing happens to him as he is so much stronger than them. Snow White's dagger falls to ground, which dwarfs pass her, and when she tries to pick the dagger, she sees the same moon locket in Beast's neck and snatches it. The spell breaks, and the Beast is turned back to the king. And on the other side, Clementiana is turned into an old lady, on which Mirror Queen replies that this the price of using black magic. Snow White, seeing her father, hugs and tells him all about Clementiana and dwarfs how they helped her. The king thanks them and promises the dwarfs for their reward. In the next scenes, we see a happy kingdom once again, where Andrew and Snow White's wedding preparations are going on. Clementiana, as old hag, comes there wearing a cloak and offers Snow White an apple as her wedding gift, which Snow White first gives Clementiana to eat it. Just as she eats the poisonous apple, the mirror house is broken and she dies on the spot. In the last scenes of the movie, we see everyone dancing happily. Thank you for watching.